Yo folks, and welcome to the channel. My name is Bork. In today's video, I'll be talking about the dangers of trends for Solana NFTs, NFTs in general. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. First things being is Boryuku Dragons right here. Huge love to them for what they have done for the ecosystem in Solana. But we got to talk about what they started with tokenomics, you know, the Boku brew. They got like the utility with breeding dynamics and all sorts of things. There's like utility. And then we also had like Sandbox over here where it's like, oh, metaverse plays. We got Meta Venture Studios working on our voxel sort of format and all these things, right? Well, that is obviously a trend that has drastically peaked and is now coming to consolidation, right? I know Boryuku Dragons has a lot more stuff left into them. You know, 115 Sol is definitely nothing to scoff at. But the most important part when it comes to Boryuku Dragons is they have established their trend and they created it. But what about projects that are, you know, sort of doing trends as well? They're releasing on stuff that already exists. For example, I'm not trying to FUD anyone's bags because I actually own a Tayo, all right? I want to be completely transparent and honest when I talk about the NFTs that I hold. And also, I don't hold the Phoenix Dungeon, but the most important part that you guys need to know is those were things that were catching trends. They are capturing what Boryuku Dragons essentially established in the form of tokenomics, you know, breeding and all sorts of things. There can only be two that essentially last in sort of like this format where it's like, hey, you know, we're going to be the established sort of section in breeding, utility, and all that stuff. Now what needs to happen is they create a new trend. They need to create a new utility or whatever. What I'm trying to say here is essentially trends are coming and going at a constant pace. They don't essentially hold like a stable price long term unless you're the first to do it, something like Boryuku Dragons, which we know if they release anything at this point, it's probably going to go up. And another project I want to talk about is Turtles. They've been here for quite some time. They are an original project that's starting a trend in the form of staking with their tokens and everything. I need to stake my Turtles. Obviously, I love the Turtles. I think they're doing a wonderful job. And now there's like other sort of projects that are doing like staking as well. But technically like Fract was one of the first who did staking, but I just wanted to point that out. Another thing to note, what's pumping is Aeropunk. And what's really interesting about Aeropunks is that if you look to Soul Punks right now, they have a very similar price. I'm not trying to FUD anything, all right? I'm just pointing it out. And I love the Soul Punks. Huge love to everyone because everyone deserves love because there's a reason why people essentially have these projects. And why am I pointing out Soul Punks and Aeropunks? Essentially, there is a lot of pump and dump trends currently occurring in the market. And what happens is if you jump into something like Aeropunks, by the way, I don't know if it's going to pump or dump or whatever, but I don't know if this is gonna last a month. I don't know if this is gonna last a week. The thing that you need to annotate with this stuff where it's like, hey, this is the newest trend, this is going to be hot, it's going to do well, it's not going to be forever. And you don't want to be left holding the 2.95 Sol floor because eventually this thing, I don't know if it's just going to keep going up, because eventually stuff like this will go down because it's not going to be an OG project that has longevity. A lot of like the trending projects that we're going to be seeing like pop up, I don't know if they're going to be lasting. And I know a lot of flippers, you know, good on you for essentially making that buck. And I understand if you're looking for that because you can't price yourself in to own like an SMB or to own a degenerate ape or to own a thugbird or to own a gecko. Maybe that's not within your requirements or visions yet. You want to essentially build up to that place. Why am I saying that? Because there's going to be a lot of projects that pop up on Sol radar that will do insanely well. Like there's a huge laundry list of them, right? But you have to point out if it's a trend and if they plan to build on top of their roadmap. So for example, you know, we have Monkey DAO here, long-standing in the Solana NFT community. Obviously, I own my SMB right here, and they've created, you know, the validator. They started this trend, but they're also going to be building stuff in the future. By the way, love to all the validators who stood up, you know, DGen Apes. We got Monkey DAO, of course, Thug DAO, and of course, Shadowy Super Coder DAO. They got like the biggest staked amount, pretty crazy. But what I want to say is that if you look at stuff in ETH NFTs, you look at what they're doing, you don't see CryptoPunks doing anything drastic where it's like, hey, Larva Labs, you guys need to do something about the CryptoPunks because they're not doing anything. And the CryptoPunks, they're more of like an established sort of icon in the NFT ecosystem. But you will also see something like Bored Ape Yacht Club. You don't see them adding utility, you don't see them adding tokenomics in this way. They're not doing anything crazy or drastic in the way they establish themselves and the way they handle themselves as a brand, all right? If anything, if you look at the Bored Ape Yacht Club sort of brand, in my opinion, sort of unprecedented with the way it acts. There's merch everywhere. People are constantly repping it. Essentially, there's exposure 100% of the time. Look at that dog, it looks so beautiful. And then you have like the game that they're also creating right here, which also looks really cool in my opinion, right? But with all these things being said, they are creating their own trends. And that's what I want to point out the most, is that a lot of the NFTs that will have like a long-standing sort of dynamic are the ones that create trends, like SMB creating the validator trend, in my opinion, in the Solana ecosystem. Like they sort of popularized it, right? It's about finding the projects that will always have staying power, having projects that will always create trends versus chasing the trend. You don't want to be a project that's essentially basing themselves around something that already exists and you're not essentially creating something new for the ecosystem. Because what happens is something like Airpunks, we know it's a derivative, but we don't know if it's going to hold that price forever. Even something like, there's gonna be something here. Well, I don't want to FUD any more bags, all right? All I'm trying to say is that these things are great for what it is right now. But when it comes to real NFT time, where the markets are not as fun to essentially participate in, just watch what happens to these more established NFTs and how they are essentially performing, because their price, while it is going down, it is still established, it is still high in my opinion, and they are still maintaining a really good floor and also maintaining a good price. But we have to talk about the most important part when it comes to chasing trends, and is forgetting where we came from as far as NFTs goes. What am I trying to say right here? Let's go back to exchange.art right here. This is going to be the creation or sort of the place to find art within Solana. And if not, I feel like the broader ecosystem. And that's why I really like them, because it's a focus on art. Because that's what NFTs were originally, where you're supporting the artist, at least for, this formation. I know NFTs can apply to like houses and all sorts of different things. But the most important part is we forget that where NFTs got their main standing from was the art play. And this goes back to the homage of like CryptoPunks and Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? CryptoPunks is not adding utility like crazy. Bored Ape Yacht Club, they're not adding like crazy, wacky stuff in order to establish themselves within the community. All they're doing is building on their brand, building on things that they are good at, building on the things that they love, and repping the Bored Ape Yacht Club sort of idea. And same thing with Larva Labs and CryptoPunks, where essentially they are just becoming thought leaders and celebrities are getting into them. And essentially, don't forget, CryptoPunks was given out for free. So anybody with an Ethereum wallet was able to get these guys for free. And if you don't know, one of the top sales happened for CryptoPunks, at least for a 7-day average, was $10 million, 4156. Absolutely insane. Like this sale even occurred. And shout outs to, the person who had this punk originally. But the thing that's most important right here is that they're not essentially trying to do different things for their roadmap. You don't see people clamoring for Larva Labs to do something. These are projects that are just going to go up because they have established themselves, and the way the community views them is that they will still keep going up. Obviously, the Solana NFT ecosystem is very young. There's a lot of things that need to be established, but I feel like the top sort of projects have established themselves, where it's SMB, Degenerate Apes, Thugbirds, Geckos, all the different projects that have been here for at least over 3 months, or if not, like at the very beginning, is what I want to say. They've established themselves, and it's up to them to continue to build. And I'm not trying to pump my SMB bag because I got in like in August. It was so early. What I'm trying to say, and I only hold one, by the way, I did not mint this. I actually bought mine, all right? And what I want to say at the end of the day when it comes to trends is that these are all really cool. Like utility, tokenomics, breeding, it's all really cool. But at the end of the day, what do people care about? People care about the fact that, one, there is some sort of financial gain, but two, longevity wise, it's going to be untouchable. It's always going to stay at a steady price. And that's what CryptoPunks and Bored Ape Yacht Club does. They don't go out of their way to chase the trends. They create the trends. And that's what I want to pay attention to the most. And another example of not chasing the trends and being insane, something like Beeple. Back in March 2021, they sold an NFT for $69 billion. We all know Beeple is going to be crazy successful. They're one of like the biggest art providers out there. And to be honest with you, I think that's like sort of the status that a lot of NFTs want to be at. To be an art project through and through, and to never forget their roots, and always to, fall back and pay homage to the artist. Because at the end of the day, that's what NFTs are from. And in my opinion, you could almost say that that's the trend that we're almost seeing with Aeropunks being a thing. thing because we're going back into a punks-esque sort of craze with all the different things. As of the recording of this video, who knows, maybe this won't be pumping anymore and we'll see something else. But honestly, I think the punks are like sort of trending just because of the recent sale that occurred. It was only like 2 days ago. So in case you're wondering, maybe that's why punks are going crazy in the Solana ecosystem. And maybe that's why this trend is gonna go up. Be very careful. Don't get caught left holding the bag for any of these derivs or essentially any of these projects that can't withstand the long haul or the long market that we're going to be in. But I'm mega bullish. There is institutions coming in and we are only at the precipice. If not, we are only at the beginning of where NFTs will go. But those are the dangers of trends. If you get anything out of this, just try not to buy the things that are obviously cashing in on a trend and won't have a long-term sort of vision for the way they want to handle their project. Get rid of that bag before you're essentially left holding it. But anyways, if you made it this far in today's video, consider subscribing, dropping a like, leaving a comment. Follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. Once we hit 3K subs, we're doing that giveaway. Thanks so much for watching and have yourself a fantastic day. See you guys in the next one.